Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to night number 27 of the Overnight Feed Recaps for Big Brother Season 26. Hope y'all are all doing well. Welcome to Wednesday. All right, last night in the house. I wasn't sure how this day was going to go. We've already had the veto ceremony. Everyone's more or less just waiting around for the AI BB Arena on Thursday, the HOH competition. Sometimes that makes for downtime. But they're also locked away inside this house where cabin fever starts ramping up the paranoia. And as a result, did we have just massive conversations, massive blow-ups, house meetings? No, not really. But we had a whole lot of people plotting, conspiring, and talking amongst themselves. I will say this. They're to a point where they've been in the house for a few weeks. They're starting to feel like they know how to play the game. And yet they don't really know just yet that they can't trust anyone. There are a lot of people making assumptions that people are going to keep secrets. A lot of people making plans that'll never come to fruition. We had a lot of plotting going on last night, so we'll talk about that. Let's start off the feeds with Tucker. Tucker is convinced, as are a lot of other people in this house, that Thursday is going to be a wall competition. As a result, Tucker is already working out. We had quite a bit of watching Tucker in the gym, inside gym, working out. Also seems like he was getting himself some naps in at the same time, trying to look like he was working out, but also resting a little bit. But Tucker definitely doing what he can to make sure he is good and ready for the competition on Thursday. We'll see if it's a wall comp or not. I'm not convinced it is, but we will find out. He's going to do everything he needs to do to be prepared. Because remember, Cedric's already said he'll sit up there on the wall for 15 hours if that's what it takes to beat Tucker. So we'll see if it lasts 15. I think the record, someone mentioned it last time, was about 6 hours. So Cedric, maybe not 15 hours, but they can go to town. All right, we had Tucker working out a lot. The stress of being on the block, the stress of being indoors has gotten to Rubina. She complained about having a headache due to having her hair pulled up. I've never run into that. But yeah, she said her head was just hurting had been doing it for a few hours. So as a result, at one point, T-Core grabbed her by the hair, was pulling on it. Apparently, I guess that helps. Did that for a little while. Later, Tucker began massaging her neck while she was on the floor, and he was going to pull her neck with a towel. Seems kind of dangerous to me, but wrap a towel around your neck, give it a good hard pull, and hopefully everything falls into place. Hopefully. He was getting ready to do that. Big Brother shut him down and said, don't do that. Don't do that. Safety first. That would not let Tucker use a towel on Rubina's neck. Tucker's not happy that's the case. Later, Cam comes in, and he's a personal trainer. He says, yeah, neck pull, or a towel pull would probably be okay. Now, Big Brother's not going to allow it. They shut it down. At that point, Tucker gets upset. Not a house meeting, not going off on anyone else, just going off on production at this point in time. He starts griping at them, says that they are a joke in this house. They're being treated like kindergartners. They're not allowed to do anything, yelling at production quite a bit. We lost the feeds, but apparently during that loss of feeds, he was called into the diary room. I'm sure he got a strong lecture that you have to play by the rules. If you start doing things that go against what Big Brother's wanting you to do, if you start griping directly to production, you will get called in and you can be given a verbal warning. I don't know what happens after the verbal, but you can get a little hand slap. And I think Tucker probably got that. Feeds did eventually come back, and we saw Chelsea going on about what had happened. Apparently Tucker was yelling at production quite a bit after that. So yeah, cabin fever kicks in all different ways. With Tucker, it's having to play by the rules and follow along with what Big Brother's telling you to do. Big Brother's God now, Tucker. You better get used to it. All right, we had Chelsea talking to Leah, telling Leah that if it's Cedric and Rubina on the block Thursday night, that she's going to vote out Rubina because Cedric has her back more. Leah seeming to agree. Leah's certainly a bit of a floater at this point. Depends on who she's talking to as far as which direction she wants to go. And sometimes she goes all different directions talking to the same person as well. But Chelsea's saying that she's voting out Rubina if it comes down to it. And Leah's agreeing with it, it seems like, at this point in time. All right, we've got Brooklyn talking about that same scenario of Rubina versus potentially like MJ or against Cedric on the block. If it's Rubina and Cedric, Brooklyn is telling Chelsea that she would vote to save Cedric, but the problem is that she would be voting against the 5-point alliance. Now, remember, the 5-point alliance is Brooklyn, Tucker, Rubina, T-Core, and Chemo. Apparently, Brooklyn told Chelsea about this alliance. There's no secrets in this house. Don't assume there's any secrets. She told Chelsea about the alliance, and she's telling Chelsea it's going to put me in a bad position because if I vote to save Cedric, which I'll do, but it means I'm going to be voting against this alliance. I'm going to kind of expose that my true loyalties are not with them, which would not be great. But Brooklyn is saying if this does happen, worst case scenario, I'm going to tell Tucker that I heard rumors, something about Rubina. I just had to change my vote. And then later she says she's going to tell Tucker it's because she thought it was an overwhelming vote for Rubina, and she just wanted to give Tucker or Cedric a pity vote, and she didn't realize it was as close as it was. She's trying to come up with different things that's going to explain why she didn't work with the 5 Points Alliance. It's not going to matter. If she does that, they're going to know. Brooklyn is saying that Savage, she'll tell Tucker she heard rumors. She's really hoping that Rubina or Cedric win the AI BB Arena so that Mackenzie stays on the block. And then it's either Mackenzie versus Rubina or Mackenzie versus Cedric, and the vote is much easier at that point in time. Brooklyn is talking about going forward that she really wants to win HOH, put up Angela and someone strong for their side, from their side, someone like Cam. And the idea is have Cam in there to hopefully win veto to keep Angela, for example, from winning veto. And then, or Tucker. If Angela's on the block and she draws house guest choice, she's bringing Tucker in, right? I would think so. So the idea is from Brooklyn's side, put up Angela as a target, put up Cam to try to win that veto, and then have as a backdoor target Tucker. If for some reason that doesn't work out, they send Angela home. So that's what Brooklyn's thinking going forward. All right, Brooklyn later is talking to Chemo. She's telling Chemo that she'll vote out Rubina over Cedric, same plans that she'd mentioned before to Chelsea. She'll vote out Rubina over Cedric, and she's going to tell Tucker that if it comes down to it, that she just thought it was an overwhelming vote for Rubina and through Cedric a pity vote. What I'd mentioned before. She's telling Chemo this. Now, surely Chemo is going to take this information back to Tucker, right? I would think he would. I hope he does. Well, we will find out. Secondly, Tucker's not going to buy this for a second. Brooklyn can explain away. Tucker already does not trust Brooklyn. Brooklyn, I think, doesn't realize that. Tucker is not going to buy it for a second. So she doesn't need to worry about coming up with all these complicated stories. It's not going to matter if you get into that position. But it is going to be interesting if Chemo tells Tucker this right now before we even get to the vote and everything that happens on Thursday. We'll be watching to see if that's the case. Brooklyn is then talking to Tucker, telling Tucker that she had talked to Leah, and that Leah said she wasn't sure how she'll vote if Rubina is on the block on Thursday. In other words, she's trying to create a little bit of a division between Leah and Tucker. Don't know that you need it. I'm not sure Leah and Tucker are super close anyway, but Brooklyn certainly letting Tucker know that Leah maybe wouldn't vote the way you would want her to vote if Rubina's on the block. So just keep that in mind, Tucker. In other words, hey, if it comes down to it and you win HOH, Leah sure didn't have your back this week, Tucker. Just keep that in mind. Tucker is calling Leah a floater. He's saying Leah will do whatever the house wants to do. Wherever the majority is for the house, that's what Leah's going to do. All right, we've got Leah teaching Mackenzie how to campaign and how to play Big Brother, what to say to everyone else. She's saying, tell everyone that you can win competition so you can help contribute to a team, to that person. Tell whoever you're talking to that you've got 3 other targets that are not whoever you're talking to. So there's no reason that you would be coming after them and doing anything like that. So yeah, Leah giving all the information on how to play and win Big Brother to Mackenzie. So, well, I'm sure Mackenzie appreciates the information, Leah. All right, we've got Joseph talking to Cedric, telling Cedric that he should be okay on Thursday. They have got the votes between a collective and all of that. Cedric will be good. It's scary, but yeah, you'll be good, Cedric. Don't worry about it. They're talking about who they can get votes from. They both think trying to get Angela's vote is a lost cause. Yeah, I'd say so. I think at this point, probably so. Joseph is telling Cedric, saying, that's why I created this alliance. For creating the alliance, you certainly seem to be pretty low on the totem pole, Joseph. But he's saying that's why he created the collective alliance. And he's saying that if Cedric is still on the block come Thursday night, the votes for or against Cedric are going to really show how strong this alliance is or is not. And we don't know. There's a lot of talk. I really can't tell you how a vote would go with Cedric versus Rubina. That it could be an interesting vote. All right, we've got Tucker and Rubina talking a little bit. Tucker is saying that he's not worried about Cedric. Cedric is not a comp threat. He's beaten him in veto competitions twice so far. Now, Cedric said a couple of days ago, he's not worried about Tucker. He feels he's 21. Yeah, Tucker's 30. Cedric's 21, former Marine. He feels comfortable going up against Tucker in any competition. Well, Tucker's not worried about Cedric either. He's already beaten him twice. He knows he can beat him. He is talking at this point about Quinn and Leah and their connection. Tucker thinks that Quinn and Leah are close, but Rubina's saying, well, for as close as you think they are, Leah is certainly complaining about about Quinn all the time. So she's not thinking the connection is there the way Tucker does. Now, later in the evening, Leah comes in and says something about, can you backdoor someone that's not even on the block? And she's talking about Quinn. She's ready to get him out immediately. She's just had enough of Quinn and some of his kind of whispers and making fun of their not relationship and things like that. So she's ready to be done with Quinn at this point, and she let Tucker know. But yeah, Tucker thinking the two of them are close, and Rubina saying, yeah, she talks poorly of Quinn enough. I'm not sure if that's really the case, Tucker. All right, we've got T-Core and Chemo and Rubina talking. Chemo is saying that no matter who Tucker might be talking to, he thinks Tucker is the most committed to the three of them. Again, this is T-Core and Chemo and Rubina. We'll see. It's a long season, but for right now, he's thinking Tucker's committed to the three of them. Doesn't matter who else he may be conversing with. Rubina is agreeing, but then after a little bit of game talk of that sort, she switches back over to say that she just doesn't know. It's so hard that she's trying not to show affection to Tucker. But she just doesn't know that it's working. And yeah, we got things like this and them snuggling in bed together a little bit. And she may be trying. I'm not sure how well it's working at all. Later, T-Core tells Rubina, says, you spent way too much time with Tucker today. And Rubina says, yeah, but I just left his room, so we're good now. It's midnight, but other than that, yeah, I'm done. No more today. That's it. So yeah, she's thinking that she needs to distance herself from Tucker. It's just not working. All right, we've got Rubina and T-Core talking alone a little bit. More talk about trying, mainly from Rubina, about trying to play the game while also handling her feelings that she has for Tucker. She's also worried, and I hadn't really thought about this. She's worried about her relationship. This is Rubina. Rubina's a little bit worried about her relationship with Chemo, saying, I like Tucker. I know Chemo likes Tucker. I feel a little awkward every time Chemo comes in and Tucker and I are kind of together. And she's saying, I'm really worried that there may just be a part of Chemo that thinks that if I wasn't in the house, would Tucker have more time for Chemo and all of that? And it's kind of what's going on with that? T-Core says, I haven't heard anything like that. I think you're fine. It is what it is. And she's kind of downplaying it. But yeah, we're being a little bit worried about how her relationship with Tucker is affecting her relationship with Chemo. All right, we've got everyone sitting around the kitchen, playing a number game and rhyming games, and just generally, no game talk. There's way too many in there all at one time. Generally just chilling for a while. Eventually they hang out in the bathroom. 5 or 6 of them get a big shot of them all on the couch together, hanging out in the bathroom. Leah talking about her lingerie business, saying that she came on the show to get more exposure for her underwear line and things like that. So she's talking a little bit about that. At one point while they're in there, Chemo is crying in front of. He's crying. He's sad. I guess the group had broken up a little bit because Chemo and T-Core and Tucker and Angela are still in there. He's crying. He's sad. He's thinking about home. He's thinking about and just not feeling great. Another chemo Eeyore moment. He's just feeling a little down in the dumps at this point in time. So a few tears and just not feeling great. Angela's giving him hugs, trying to cheer him up a little bit. All right, we've got Tor talking to chemo. I do these recaps every morning, and I feel like 75% of the conversations are between Tor and chemo. They do a lot of talking. They do a lot of conspiring. They don't do as much actions. Maybe it all comes to fruition at some point in time, but right now, God, they just spend so much time together talking, which is great in terms of developing a ride or die and things like that. But at the same time, when you're together so much, I just feel like it limits your time with everyone else. And even though no one's looking at the two of them as a target right now, bigger fish in the sea, so to speak, at some point, people are going to realize how tight these two are, and it's going to make them more of a target. They spend so much time together talking, and but I'm here to tell you what the talks are all about. So we got Tor and chemo talking. Tor is saying that her ideal five, if she could pick who her final five would be, it'd be her and chemo and Rubina and Chelsea and Brooklyn. So chemo and four women, but she's worried because she knows that Brooklyn is in 5 points, but she also knows that Brooklyn and Chelsea belong to some other group that she's not aware of. Well, that's the Pentagon that Tor doesn't know about. And yes, they are in this other group. So Tor saying, I know we've got them in the 5 points and all that, but I just don't know where their loyalties truly are. But everything else being equal, those would be the five that she'd like to have in as her final five in the house. Her, chemo, Rubina, Chelsea, and Brooklyn. All right. Tucker is telling Rubina while they're snuggling in bed together. Yeah, they're not spending too much time together. Tucker is telling Rubina they have the votes to keep her. We should be able to make it happen. So don't worry too much about that, Rubina. I'm not as convinced as Tucker is that is truly the case. Hopefully so from their standpoint, from their point of view. I do think Angela would break the tie in their favor. So they only need 5 votes in the House, but we'll see if those votes can be generated. All right, we've got Tor and chemo and Leah talking. Leah is thinking that she's been grouped with Mackenzie too much. She says, everyone keeps saying the two of us are a duo and all that. She said, but I don't mind sending Mackenzie home. I'm fine with that. She said, I'd go to finals with Mackenzie if it came down to it, but I'm a little bothered that Mackenzie is a little too entitled in her feelings. And she's saying MJ just doesn't talk game with me at all. She's just kind of there expecting me to carry her. And, so yeah, I'd be fine going to the finals with her. But at the same time, she's saying, on the other hand, if Rubina was to go home, it'll make Tucker's game stronger, which would actually benefit me. And she's saying, and MJ will, on the other hand, from that MJ would probably stay loyal to me. If we sent out Rubina and kept MJ, yeah, I could control her. She would stay loyal to me. And she's saying, and on the other hand, Rubina might put Leah up as well. So this all started with Tor saying, which way would you lean? And Leah, in the course of one conversation, is basically throwing out several ideas on how to go after, why she would go after Mackenzie, several about why she'd go after Rubina. I don't think she ever actually gave an answer. She's kind of him-hawing around and making sure that she doesn't throw out a name either direction. So she doesn't know what. I don't know if she truly doesn't know, and she's waiting to hear Tor and chemo tell her what they want to do, and she'll go along with that. Or is it matter that she's just playing these two and she's gonna? I don't know. I don't know. But we never heard exactly which way Leah would go. She's one of the uncertain votes, in my opinion. All right, we've got Mackenzie and Rubina talking. Mackenzie is saying basically the same thing that Leah just got through saying. She's saying that people think her and Leah are a pair, but they don't talk game. She says, first time I really talked game with Leah in weeks was today, and she says very limited. So, that's not the kind of relationship that she has. But she's saying that people think they're a pair. They're not really. Rubina is responding saying, well, who is a pair is Joe and Quinn. I see them. I know they're a strong pair, so got to be thinking about that. Mackenzie is complaining. She's upset that Quinn made her use the power last week. She's saying again that, hey, if he had just, she said there were 3 guys in this house all saying, don't use the power and, go after, don't try to flip the way you did Tucker and all that. And he did it anyway. And as a result, then I got put on the block, had the power to use. And so she's a little frustrated that things could have gone so differently if Tucker just hadn't gone rogue and used that veto on Angela. All right, we've got Brooklyn and Chelsea talking. Chelsea is worried about Tor and Chemo. Where do they land on all this? She knows that everyone likes them. They're a tight duo, but where do they land in terms of loyalties? She's saying that Chemo came to her and talking about maybe that he wanted to throw Rubina a bit of a bone and hold on to her and all of that. She's telling Chelsea that she told Chemo, if you start doing this, it's going to get very messy. We just need as a group to work together and make sure that we're all on the same page. So everyone needs to be taking out Rubina. We can't have anyone going off script. It's going to create all kinds of mess if you do that, Chemo. So basically letting Chelsea know that she's tried to get Chemo and Tor lined up to be ready to vote out Rubina if Rubina's still on the block and all of that. She's also saying that she mentioned to Chemo that if everyone does take out Rubina, that's going to leave Tucker and Leah and Angela all alone. So now suddenly you've got 3 folks by themselves, the rest of the house going after them, easy targets, easy peasy, right? Except that Chemo knows he's at the bottom of all the alliances on this side of the house. And so the gears are turning, as we'll find out here in just a second. All right, we've got Tucker and Chemo talking. Chemo is saying the best guess is that MJ, or best case is that MJ McKenzie goes home this week. That's Chemo's opinion. Obviously, he doesn't want Rubina to go home. He kind of wants Cedric to stay so that they don't have to break alliances just yet or vote against Cedric. So he wants MJ to go home at this point in time. Tucker's response said, yeah, that's fine. But he's also saying that he's going after Cam and Quinn if he wins this HOH, whether it's a wall or whatever else, he's going to win it. And he'll be going after Cam and Quinn. The conversation continues. Remember Rubina complaining a little bit or worried about how Chemo views her relationship with Tucker. And here she is getting a neck massage treatment from Tucker. Well, suddenly Chemo's neck's hurting a little bit as well. And next thing you know, Tucker is massaging Chemo's neck, giving him a shoulder massage, a neck massage. Chemo seems to be really enjoying the personal attention that Tucker is giving him. So yeah, Tucker's an equal opportunity neck massager. He's giving Chemo a little bit of a neck massage at this point in time. All right, as the conversation continues, Chemo is talking to Tucker and saying, look, would you ever consider not going after Quinn? Is that in the books that maybe that's something that you would consider? Tucker is saying, bro, Quinn put Rubina on the block. That makes it a little tough to do anything along those lines that you're suggesting. He says, I'm going to see how the votes go this week, and then I'll decide if that's something that can happen or not. I don't see it happening. And Tor and Chemo have talked about this for the past few days. Let's get Quinn and Tucker together. Quinn and Tucker together. If the 2 of them are together, they can go after these different alliances. They're strong enough. They'll win all this stuff. They can take everyone else out. They won't come after us. And if anyone else gets power, they'll go after these 2 guys, not us. So it's a perfect world for Tor and Chemo, but involves Quinn and Tucker working together. And Tucker saying, yeah, not ready to commit to that just yet, Chemo. Tucker saying that he's actually watching out for Chemo. Saying, I know you're trying to do all this stuff, but I'm watching out for you. Don't worry about it, Chemo. Tucker is talking about who they can get to bring into their alliances. I'm not sure if they're talking 5-point, but saying maybe we could get Leah, maybe Angela into the group as well. Remember, Angela night before last actually came in begging to be part of the group. He's saying, yeah, maybe we'll get Leah, maybe we'll get Angela as well. Chemo is talking about the fact that he's at the bottom of the collective. He doesn't feel that he is. New conversation. This isn't with Tucker. Sorry. notes a little fouled up here. Chemo and Ticor are talking a bit at this point. Chemo's saying he thinks he's at the bottom of the collective. He doesn't feel like he's really part of things. They're both a little concerned that the rest of the collective is all upstairs together. But then Ticor realizes that Angela's up there as well. So they're probably not talking game, but still, Chemo's feeling a little left out, just doesn't think he's part of things. He's saying, is it time to blow up the Pentagon? Do we need to just go ahead and do that? And Ticor saying, I'm not sure if this is quite ready to do that just yet. And we may still want to wait just a little bit, but they're talking about blowing out that 5-person alliance of the Pentagon. Rabina is at one point, they're talking about that. Ticor isn't sure. Rabina at one point comes in. They start talking about Tucker instead, as they tend to do when they're talking to Rabina. Ticor eventually is wondering if Tucker would listen to them going forward. There are 3 people within the 5 Points Alliance. Would Tucker listen to us? And Chemo's complaining. He says, I don't like other people being in Tucker's ear. He needs to just be listening to us. I don't want other people talking to him. So no matter what they said earlier about they feel like Tucker is strongest with this group of 3 and all of that, they still don't want other people potentially talking to Tucker. All right, we've got Ticor and Quinn talking together. Ticor, just like Chemo did with Tucker, Ticor is mentioning to Quinn this idea that maybe you and Tucker could start working together again. Quinn's talking about Cedric, says, hey, Cedric trusts me right now. I'm continuing to build up trust with Cedric. He's saying that when they flip on him, and when he first mentioned this, I wasn't sure who he's talking about. He's talking about Quinn, talking about flipping on Brooklyn and Cam and Chelsea and Cedric. So basically, the other 4 members of the Pentagon Alliance, Quinn is talking about, which makes more sense now about the conversation between Ticor and Chemo a little bit earlier about when do they blow up the Pentagon. Well, Quinn's talking about it as well, saying that when they flip on them, the rest of the Pentagon is going to be shocked. Brooklyn is going to be absolutely pissed at Quinn. Yeah, you think? He's worried though that they can't tell Joe, because if they tell Joseph about this, then Joseph may go tell Chelsea, and then Chelsea will tell Brooklyn, and everything falls apart. So they've got to keep it close right now about this idea. Quinn has mentioned that as much as he and Tucker have beef with each other, when it comes right down to it, he'd just soon target Angela next week if he was to get HOH. He would prefer to get Angela out at this point in time. He's saying at that point, then, if Tucker wants to work with me, maybe we can talk. Maybe we could see what's happening. So Quinn seems a little more open when talking to Ticor about working with Tucker than maybe Tucker did about working with Quinn. So he's saying, yeah, after Angela's gone, then we'll see, and maybe we could do something. He's saying, but if Tucker and I are to work together, that means Tucker is going to have to work with Leah, even though he doesn't like her. Well, the bigger question, would Leah want to work with Quinn in an alliance? I'm not sure that's a given at all, but Tucker is assuming that that's a given in terms of any future alliance that may be going on. But he's saying, yeah, Tucker's going to have to work with Leah, and I don't know how that's going to work out. They are talking about this flip maybe happening next week, and that maybe they would also involve Rabina and Leah, again, trying to bring in all the numbers against the Pentagon just to make sure they have the votes in order to make that happen. When you take your shot, make sure you got the bullet in the chamber and you're pointing in the right direction, right? So they are certainly considering this scenario for the next week or two. Quinn is saying this coming up week, he could win HOH. He could put Angela up and out. And then the next week, Tucker could win HOH. And then he could send out Cedric as kind of the first shot against the Pentagon. And then Ticor saying, yeah, Cedric and then Cam need to be the first 2 targets of the flip. Funny has 2 guys that Ticor's pointing out as the first 2 targets, all right? Yeah. Quinn is talking to the cameras by himself afterwards. He's up in the have not room where he talked to Ticor. He's talking to the cameras afterwards. He's saying, yeah, teaming up with Ticor doesn't help my resume whatsoever. He says it helps others that aren't named Quinn. He says it certainly helps Tucker look better. And he says, but I do all this, we make all these huge moves, and then just Tucker stabs me in the back. So, yeah, that's not going to work. He says, this plan, well, I'll talk about it. He said, but this plan's only in place if Tucker wins HOH as a way to protect myself. He said, I'm not going to team up with Tucker. This is just a short-term protection. just in case scenario. Otherwise, it ain't going to happen. So T-Core, you tried. Chemo, you tried. I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. All right, we've got Joseph and Mackenzie talking together. Mackenzie's saying that she's an easy person just to keep putting on the block. That's the campaign she's making to him of, hey, I'm a perpetual pawn. Y'all just keep putting me up. I'm one less person that you've got to worry about, Joseph. It'd be easy. Joseph eventually, after she leaves, talking to the camera, says, I really like Mackenzie. She's really sweet. She's really nice. I'm going to hate to see her go. So, yeah, doesn't sound like Joseph's on the Mackenzie bandwagon right now in terms of trying to keep her in the house. He's also wondering if he should jump ship and work with Tucker. A lot of people talking about jumping ship, aren't they? And if Tucker wins, maybe it's time to flip on Chelsea, Cam, Cedric, and Brooklyn. Basically the same thoughts, the same plan that Quinn and T-Core and Chemo had discussed a little bit early in the evening. Joseph's thinking the same thing. I think a lot of people are seeing these four. Someone mentioned a couple times that Brooklyn and Chelsea aren't even trying to hide how tight they are anymore. And Joseph, along with the others, is recognizing the two of them plus Cam and Cedric represent a strong group of four that maybe it's time to get knocked down a little bit. All right, we've got T-Core and Chemo as we get through towards the end of the evening. T-Core and Chemo are talking again. Of course they are at the end of the evening. T-Core is saying that getting Cedric out this week really doesn't help their game. They need to hold on to him for just a little bit longer. They're ready for him to go, but maybe not this week. T-Core's complaining. She's saying it's just not fair that I have to choose between Rubina and Cedric potentially this week. Well, welcome to Big Brother, where nothing is fair, T-Core. That's not the name of the game at all. But yeah, she doesn't want to be forced to make a tough decision. It's time for some tough decisions to be made, in my opinion, but she doesn't think that's fair. She's not sure that she can trust Quinn with future plans. She just had this whole conversation with Quinn. Now she's saying, I just don't know how much I trust him, which is probably a valid concern, T-Core. T-Core suggesting that maybe it's time that they tell Rubina and Tucker about the alliance. We heard them talking about this before, T-Core and Chemo, saying we need to tell Tucker earlier rather than later so he doesn't think that we're trying to hide stuff from him. So she's saying maybe it's time that we go ahead and tell them about this collective and start getting them on board and preparing to go after the others. T-Core is upset that she wasn't included in the Pentagon Alliance. Now that she knows that it exists, a little chapped that she's not part of the core group. And that lets me see a little bit more why they're now planning to flip on the other side, because they knew they were on the bottom, but now they're realizing there's a formal group of five that they also aren't a part of. So it's just accelerating their desire to make something happen, to shut that thing down. Apparently Quinn told them about the Pentagon because they're wondering, is there really this Pentagon Alliance, or did Quinn just make that up to try to get us on board? And Chemo's saying, yeah, I think there probably really is. So yeah, they're aware of that group of five. They're realizing just how on the outside they are with the collective. The other thing T-Core is worried about, she's saying, Quinn told us about the Pentagon, which Brooklyn's a member of. Brooklyn's also a member of the 5 Points Alliance. So now T-Core is worried that Brooklyn may have told the Pentagon about their 5 Point Alliance, which she did. At least she told Chelsea about it. So a valid concern there, T-Core. And now T-Core is wondering if maybe they should take Cedric out this week. She just got through a little earlier saying it's probably too early. Now she's worrying that maybe we do need to go ahead and take out Cedric. If this other side knows about the 5 Points Alliance, maybe we have to accelerate everything that we're going to do so far. This is what happens when you lose the backyard. You're trapped inside. You get cabin fever. The paranoia just starts spinning. You've got nothing to do except let your brain spin up different scenarios and get worried, get nervous, and people start going crazy in there. And so here we are, T-Core, start a conversation. We need to hold on to Cedric. By the end of it, oh my gosh, maybe we need to get Cedric out this week. It's going to make for a lot of indecision, a lot of surprise, perhaps, in terms of how this vote goes Thursday, depending on the two that end up on the block. So they are talking about maybe it is time for Cedric, but they're both still unsure about it, saying we need to get more information. They're talking about maybe having a meeting with Quinn today to talk a little bit more about it. I imagine there'll be a lot of meetings today with different people. So they've got that. Chemo is saying that they being Chemo and T-Core, Tucker, Rubina, Quinn, and Angela, that they have the votes they need to determine who goes home and who stays on Thursday, regardless of what happens, which they do if you accept that Tucker and Quinn will vote together, that Quinn and Angela will vote together. I am not sure that Chemo has this group in a cohesive alliance or consensus the way he thinks he does. But theoretically, if all of them vote the same way, then yes, they do have the numbers. Just not sure they're going to vote the same way come Thursday. Again, it all depends on who's on the block, I do believe. But he's saying they've got the votes if they need it. And from that, the conversation goes on to who they want in jury, who they don't want in jury. I won't go into that just for matters of time. It's what-if scenarios. But they're talking a little bit about the jury fate. Everyone's starting to think more and more about jury at this point in time. And there you have it, guys. Lights out about 3 o'clock or so, Big Brother time. Again, no earth-shattering house meetings or anything else, but a whole lot of people talking now suddenly about flips, who you can trust, who you can't trust. It could make for an interesting next 24, 36 hours. Certainly, it's going to make the HOH competition on Thursday a lot of fun, and that nomination on Friday as well. Guys, y'all have a great Wednesday. I will be back tomorrow morning. We've got an episode tonight of Big Brother, so we'll talk about that a little bit, and I'll be back tomorrow morning to tell you everything that happened on the overnight recaps. Until then, my friends, SKD143, cheers. Have a great Wednesday. Bye.